There is a book that goes with my class today. I don't know why I have this slide here. I shouldn't have it. I should have it a little bit later on. I sell this book. It's $30. This is actually chapter 1 in this book right here. I've got several copies. If you guys are interested in getting it, I can take credit cards, cash, Cougarans, Bitcoin, first mail born. So this is me. My name is Bob Schneider. I am a retired Denver, Colorado policeman. I spent 21 and a half years with the Denver Police Department. 18 of those I was on our department's full-time special weapons and tactics team. So I was a SWAT cop. Anybody here former law enforcement? Cool. Awesome. Thank you very much. People go, thank you very much for your service. I go, yeah. I had the greatest job on the history of the earth. I had a front row seat to the greatest show on earth, and you paid me to be there. So that's how my career was. I don't know about your other guys, but thank you very much for your service. I'm also a certified firearms instructor with the NRA, also the United States Concealed Carry Association. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in criminal justice, which you guys really don't care. I do a use of force class where that kind of comes in to play. I am the former director of training for Heckler & Koch's International Training Division. Raise your hand really high if you've ever heard of HK. Keep your hand up really high if you own an HK. You guys are rich.
Yeah.
Got a club. Awesome. Yeah, nice. I also used to work at the 6 Hour Academy. I did armorers classes primarily for the classic line, the P220, P229, P226, primarily federal law enforcement gun. I never carried one, never shot one, but I can tell you how to take it apart, check it, fix it, clean it, put it back together. I can do all that, but I've never really carried. I also used to work at Gunsight Academy. I worked there for 25 years. I was a range master up there in Paulden, Arizona. Raise your hand really high if you've ever heard of Gunsight. Keep your hand up really high if you've ever been there. Cool. 250 class.
Concealed carry.
Concealed carry. Awesome. Yeah, great. So it's a pretty cool place. I really had a good time up there. So like I said, I spent 25 years working up there. I have been a victim of an assault and I have used deadly force. So when I talk about my use of force classes, I talk about the aftermath of my shootings and how that's important to you. But this class won't cover that. Maybe I might come back and do that. I've also been an expert witness in Colorado on 2 cases where people just like you and now me used a gun to protect themselves. And then the district attorney decided to file criminal charges against them. So I was part of the defense team as an expert witness. We were able to get those charges reduced at trial. Here in the state of Arizona, if you use force to protect yourself or your family, specifically a gun, you will go to jail. Okay. Just depends on how long you're going to stay there. And it's always good to have an attorney sitting right there while you're waiting for that. Raise your hand really high if you're an attorney. Keep your hand up really high if you're a good attorney. Criminal defense attorney.
Government attorney.
Government. Patent attorney, were you? Patent attorney. Nice. Okay. Some of my best friends are attorneys. I was going to go to law school. My cousin said that he would disown me if I went to law school. So.
Okay.
Yep. I'm also a lifetime member of the NRA, the United States Concealed Carry Association. And then that last one there, that's the Colorado Law Enforcement Firearms Instructor Association. So that's me. So like I said, we're going to talk about development of personal protection and home defense plan today. I'm going to spend about an hour. Please bark out any questions that you might have about this. Again, this is chapter 1 in this book right here. And I should just hand those out and see if anybody wants to follow along. I'm not going to talk about everything in the chapter, but take one, pass it on. You're in charge. And I have a bunch more in my car. That's all I could carry. They're kind of okay. So we're going to start here. Why it's important to have a personal protection, home protection plan, and it's basic condition. We want to keep ourselves physically, legally, financially, and morally safe. And to be able to do that, the best way to do that is to avoid a violent encounter in the first place. So what's the first thing I want you to remember today? Avoid. Yep. Now, does that mean you're going to build a safe room, live in your house, never leave, have everything delivered, Amazon Prime Now, DoorDash? No. We're still going to go out to public, right? We're going to talk about how to stay safe when you're out in public. So moving on to continue to talk about why this conflict avoidance is so important. Really, the only guarantee that you will not get hurt is to not be there in the first place. Morning. How you doing?
Very good. I'm the guy who called you because
Oh,
you forgot to give me the correct address.
Yeah, and I had that. That's my bad.
Yeah,
So I apologize.
Nice. Yeah, sure.
As far as the law is concerned,
How much have I missed? You just started.
one of the things that you will be looked upon if you end up getting into a fight is if you should have known better to be there. Raise your hand really high if you have an Arizona concealed handgun permit. Nice. Raise your hand really high if you do not and you would like to get an Arizona. Cool. So I have options for y'all that have your hands up right now that you might be interested in. Okay. So remind me to talk about those. You guys are in charge.
Okay.
Okay. To remind me to talk about those. Because really the sad thing is, and I don't know about your crime issues up here. I live in North Phoenix. The Phoenix Police Department right now, they'll tell me, they won't tell you. They told me there are about 1,000 police officers down. Their authorized strength is about 3,200. They have just a little over 2,000 officers. So a third of their force is gone through retirements. I don't want to be here anymore. I'm hurt and have a nice day. And they can't get people to fill those positions. So if you call the police, it ends up being that their response time is anywhere between 18 to 22 minutes for an emergency. What can happen in 18 to 22 minutes? Nice. A lot.
It's out of all, said earlier, if you use a firearm, protect yourself.
Correct.
Repeat anything you should say.
Sure. So the question he asked is, I made a comment, if you use a gun to protect yourself, you will go to jail. And he said, he's shaking his head going, I don't understand. So let me just explain that really quick. An investigation has to occur. Okay. So to be able, for law enforcement to be able to conduct this investigation, they have to hold you to be able to get information. They're not going to let you go home and then come back the next day. They're going to take you to police headquarters. They'll probably fingerprint you, take your picture, because you have committed either a homicide or a serious assault. We just have to put the pieces together to say that it was justified. Okay. So in a traffic stop, I did 5 traffic stops my entire career. I wrote 5 tickets, I should say. I made lots of traffic stops. I only wrote like 5 tickets. And at the end of that, if you've ever been stopped, what did the officer let you do? Leave. Yeah. So the question is, if I get in a fight and I end up shooting somebody, the first question I'm going to ask is, can I leave? And what's the officer going to say to me? No. If the officers say you cannot leave, you are under arrest. They don't have to give me my Miranda rights. They don't have to put me in handcuffs. They just say you cannot leave. And that is the definition of being placed under arrest. Somebody had their hand up. Yes, sir.
Say use a fire, discharge a firearm.
So if I, in the state of Arizona, if you use the threat of a gun to protect yourself, you can be charged with a 6th-degree felony, which is serious. Okay. So that's something that you don't want to do. You don't want to get in trouble for doing that. So what we told our police officers 100 years ago, and I tell you the same thing, do not take your gun out of your holster unless you're going to shoot somebody. You're not going to shoot them, don't take it out. Don't point it at them, don't threaten them with it, don't do any of that stuff. I've got some other alternatives for you to do so that will keep you safer. Does that explain your question?
It does.
Yes, sir.
Likewise, when you said if you pull your gun out, even let's, for example, you pick up your shirt to display the gun, and that other person doesn't have a weapon or whatever, you can get arrested and go to jail.
Right.
Would you repeat that for those in the
Yep.
back?
So the question is, even if I just show my gun, get away from here, I'm going to shoot you. And I'm pulling my shirt up. That could actually be construed as a crime here in the state of Arizona, because maybe you and I are having a beef, but that young lady over there doesn't know that we're having a beef, but she sees that I have a gun. And she can hear me say, get away from me or I'm going to shoot you. Okay. So now how does she feel? She might feel threatened. So she can actually call the police and she could be the victim. Yes, sir.
Okay, what's the old saying, don't bring a knife to a gunfight? Suppose the person is brandishing a knife.
Yeah.
Repeat the question.
So the question is, what happens if somebody is coming at me with a knife?
I know there's a 21-foot rule.
Yeah. So we're going to get into that. So do you mind if I answer that question here in just a little bit with
Sure,
as a
that's fine.
slide? Yeah. Yes, sir.
Is Arizona considered concealed weapon or open?
So the state of Arizona is awesome. So the question is, can I carry a gun concealed in the state of Arizona or do I have to carry it open? Is that kind of?
Yeah.
Yes. So what's really cool about Arizona, Arizona is one of about 25, 26 states that we have constitutional carry, which basically means if you're a good person, you can carry a gun concealed on or about your person in most places, not all places. Concealed, no permit required. You can also open carry. I'm not a big open carry guy because we have a case in downtown Phoenix. Got a gentleman walking down the street, gets jumped by 3 gang members. They take his gun because he's open carrying, take his gun away from him and shoot him in the head 3 times and then run away. So I'm kind of a concealed carry guy. I have a really good friend of mine. He is a Utah instructor and he's all about open carry. So he's an open carry guy. I'm more of a concealed carry guy because I don't want to tell everybody that I'm carrying. Does that make sense? So that was kind of a roundabout answer to your question. By having a permit here in the state of Arizona, you have a lot more freedoms, a lot more leeway on carrying a gun concealed on or about your person in other places where you would not if you did not have a permit. Does that make sense?
But if it's open carry, you're not showing, you said that you can get arrested.
If you're using your gun in a threatening manner, if you're open carrying, you can be arrested for that. Just carrying it doesn't mean that you're going to be arrested. Does that make sense? So his question was, if Bob, it was my understanding that you said that if I'm open carrying, I can be arrested for that. And I wanted to clarify that it's the threat of a deadly weapon. You can be arrested, but just carrying it is not a threat. Does that clear that question real quick? Yes, sir.
Are foreigners allowed to conceal carry in Arizona?
Foreigners.
As
So
in Canadians.
no, if you're a U.S. citizen.
Aliens.
You know, recently the Canadians have to keep the gun somewhere.
So you and I can talk about that here in just a little bit. Become an American. Pay taxes, become an American.
Bob?
Yes, sir.
Can you clarify something? I know there's so many people that believe if somebody breaks into your house, you can go ahead and shoot them.
Right.
And that's wrong. That's false. Can you kind of maybe touch on that?
Yep, so the question is, if somebody comes in my house, can I just go ahead and shoot them? I have a slide for that. So can we
Oh, that's fine.
address that? Yep.
There's so many people that don't understand it. They believe I can shoot somebody who's in my house.
Is
Right.
that okay?
Yep, absolutely. So, yep, these are all great questions. And I don't mean to put you off.
Appreciate it. No
Like,
problem.
so, did I repeat that question? That was like 10 seconds ago. I have really bad short term. Question was, can I shoot somebody just because they come in my house? Now, there's some other things that you want to think about before you do that. Okay. This last bullet point here, if you do get involved in a fight, the district attorney is going to be looking at your case, and he or she is going to be thinking, are you the victim? Are you the assailant? Did you start this? You know, what is your role in this whole thing? And if you are a concealed carry holder, you basically have taken some other training, and maybe you should have known better than to be there. Again, the ultimate goal to be able to survive is to do what? And that is to avoid. Okay. So if you do decide to get into a fight, the district attorney is going to be looking at your case, and he or she is going to think in the back of their head, would a reasonable person do exactly the same thing you did under the exact same circumstances? This is known as the reasonable person test. When I was in law school, it was called the reasonable man test, but now we've made it politically correct. It's not a real person. It's just a fictitious person. And if the district attorney feels that you were reasonable in your actions, then they're going to let you out of jail. They're going to let you go home. If they feel that you were unreasonable, they're going to file criminal charges against you, and now we're going to go to trial. So always think that whatever you do has to be reasonable for the circumstances. And it's kind of the totality of the circumstances. So really what I like to say, and it's just a good way to answer a lot of the what if questions. What if the moon is full and the zombies come out and I feel kind of threatened, you know, can I shoot them? Okay. So really what I like to do is just answer it this way. Before you get involved in a fight, there's two questions I want you to ask yourself. Number one, is it worth dying? Number two, is it worth going to jail? So let's go back to, if you get in a fight, there's a possibility you may get injured as a result of that fight. And you can die as a result of those injuries. Okay. So is it worth dying? Number two, is it worth going to jail? We talked about that before. You will go to jail. So is it worth it? So Bob took us his saber and I cut a line in the sand. And who am I willing to die for? Who am I willing to go to jail for? So the first thing is I got my two knucklehead kids. One's 25, the other one's 26. One lives with me down here in Arizona. The other one lives in Colorado. So if they're being threatened and I'm there to help them, and if the situation is that it would be reasonable for me to use deadly force, I am going to defend them. Next is all my good friends. You guys are all my new best friends. So I am willing to die for you. I'm willing to go to jail for you. My liquor store clerk and a cop who's getting his ass kicked on the side of the road. That's it. If you're not my kids, my best friends, a liquor store clerk or a cop who's getting his ass kicked on the side of the road, I'm not coming to help you. Who's in charge of their safety?
Themselves.
They are. They're in charge of their safety. They need to come to Bob's class, right? Yeah, absolutely. So again, I have a really good friend of mine. His name is Dave Spalding. He's a retired state of Ohio police officer, and he's a world-renowned firearms instructor. And I've been to several of his classes. He worked with me at HK, by the way. And he had a saying, in fact, I think he made it into a t-shirt. Be an active participant in your own rescue. Okay, so you have to understand that you are your family's first responder. That's why we need to take all this very serious. So seconds count. So there's three things that you can do here. First one is you can avoid it. You can escape, or you might have to defend yourself. If you recognize potential danger and it's pretty far away, it'll be pretty easy for you to escape, to get away. If it's not too far away, somebody over here talked about the 21 feet, let's say 40 feet, okay? So not quite in that bubble of danger, okay? But just a little bit further away, we might be able to escape. And of course, if they're this close, put your arm out, young man. Don't put your arm down. If they're this close, can I escape? Can I run away? No, I'm gonna probably have to defend myself. So defending yourself should absolutely 100% be the absolute last resort. Last resort, absolutely last resort. Because again, we always want to try to avoid these things, right? Cool. So I've got Julie walking down the street. I got Julie on the left, Julie on the right. What's Julie on the left doing? Looks like she's distracted. Yeah. When we're walking down the street, we have to be Julie on the right. She's got her head up, shoulders back. She's walking with a purpose. She has situational awareness. She's aware of all the people and objects in her environment. But Julie wants to know how close somebody has to be to her before she needs to feel like she might be in some danger. Julie also needs to remember to look behind her. So let's talk about the 21-foot Tueller rule. Dennis Tueller is a retired lieutenant from the Salt Lake City Police Department. He came up with this. He also worked with me at Gunsight. So what Dennis was able to determine is that most people that are 21 feet away from you can get to you with a knife, baseball bat, whatever, in about 1.5 seconds. We found out a lot of our police officers couldn't even get their gun out in 1.5 seconds. So we started telling them, you need to be worried about people that are about 32 feet away from you. Now, does that mean nobody's going to come within 21 or 32 feet of you? And the answer to that's no. People are going to come in that area, right? But if somebody comes in that area that makes you feel uncomfortable, the best thing you can do to keep yourself safe, increase your distance. So we don't want to look like a victim, okay? Don't want to look like a victim. Got Julie standing up straight. She's got her head up. She's erect. She's looking around. She has that situational awareness. One of the things that let me back up. One of the things that I like to do every day, I go out for a walk. And in my walking path, people walk by me. Do I just put my head down and look away from them? No. I look at them eye to eye, smile and nod my head. Now, most times, people will smile and nod their head back at me. If it was evil, what would evil do if I was looking at evil eye to eye? Probably look away. Okay, look away. He does not want to be recognized. He doesn't want to know that I know that he's there, because he's looking for people that are easy victims, right? Easy victims. So I might have to walk past that evil faster. I might need to cross the street to increase my distance. Okay, I'm just going to get away from evil as quickly as possible to try to avoid it. So again, stand up straight, head up, and keep that eye contact. If I need to use my phone, because we all have to do that, how do we look at our phone? Does this look familiar? Okay, this is bad. Two reasons. What can I see? And what's my chiropractor going to do with my neck? Okay. So what I ask you to do is, when you get your phone out, is to bring it up to eye level. And now I'm standing up straight. You guys can see that. And I'm looking at my phone. My chiropractor appreciates that a lot more. And what can I see downrange? Everything. Where here, all I can see is the ground and the people that are real close. So if you get your phone out, bring it up to eye level. even a big guy sitting down, being distracted can be a victim. So I've got a smaller woman, sitting up straight, erect, being, paying attention to what's going on. And a bad guy goes, not an easy victim, but I got a guy sitting on a step over there. He's got his phone out. He looks more like an easier victim, even though he's a bigger guy. I can go ahead and assault him and take whatever I want. Maybe that cell phone is exactly what my bad guy wants. So even though you're larger, stronger, faster, you can still be a victim just by not being aware of what's going on around. So we're talking about the color code of awareness. This is a picture of Jeff Cooper. Jeff Cooper started gun sight in 1976, way before you guys were born. And one of the three things that I used to teach at gun sight was called the color code of awareness. We also called it mindset. And what Jeff did, he actually stole this from the United States Marine Corps, because really what it was a way to help mentally conditioned Marines to prepare for an attack during the Second World War in the Pacific Theater. So what Jeff did is he took Marine words and he adopted them for us civilians. So we give Jeff Cooper credit for creating this. He actually gives credit to the United States Marine Corps. So the first condition that Jeff gives us is what we call condition white. And in condition white, you are totally unaware of everything that's going on around you. I've had an opportunity to talk to victims of crime, and I find that they were in this condition just before they were attacked. Why? Why were they attacked when they were in this condition? They weren't paying attention. We'd like to say they were easy victims. Okay? They were easy victims. It was, what happened? Oh, this guy ran up, stole my purse. Okay, can you describe it to me? No. How do you know it was a guy? I just had a feeling it was a man, and he was stronger than me, ripped my purse and ran away. Cool. When did you notice it? When he started grabbing my purse. So that's closer than our arm length here, right? So yeah. So you cannot be in this condition when we're out in public. The only time that you can really be in this condition, according to Jeff Cooper, is if you're home in your house, the doors are locked and you have armed sentry at the front door. I don't have the kind of money to have an armed sentry at my front door, or a dog or anything else. So really, even when I'm at home, I'm not quite in this condition. I do kind of fade in and out. But really, this condition is just not a great place to be. When we're out in public, we have to be absolutely in what we call condition yellow. Now, in condition yellow, you are relaxed, you're generally aware of everything that's going on around you, and you are not paranoid. So when we're out in public, I need you to have that situational awareness. We call that condition yellow. You're looking around, you got your head up, shoulders back, you're even looking to see what's going on behind you. You're acknowledging people that you're walking by. You're at the store, you see lots of things going on. You're just aware of everything that's there. I was so happy when I went to the grocery store yesterday. I found some eggs, so I was happy. $6.99 a dozen for large, not extra large, large. So anyway, yep. So here I got Julie. She's got her head up. She's got her shoulders back. She's looking around. She's generally aware of everything that's going on around her. Now, if Julie sees something that makes her feel a little uncomfortable, we're going to switch to what we call condition orange. Now, condition orange just means that you now are specifically aware of that person or thing that makes you feel a little uncomfortable. But now as I study that person or thing, I realize that it's not that dangerous. So I'm just going to switch back to condition yellow. Yes, you can switch back and forth from these conditions all day long and not have a problem. Continue on down the street, through the shopping mall, whatever. Oh. Okay. Back in condition yellow. Somebody or something catches my eye, makes me feel a little uncomfortable. I'm going to switch back to condition orange. Now, in condition orange, I am going to start to formulate plans into my head to either try to avoid them or to prepare for an attack. And really, what's the best thing? To avoid them, right? So how do I do that? Maybe I increase my distance by crossing the street. Maybe I walk past that person faster so that I'm not next to them for very long. Or maybe I need to get my gun out to prepare for an attack. And if we put that plan into action, we call that condition red. Now, condition red does not mean that you're in a fight. It just means that your mental trigger was tripped because of the plan that you had made. And now we're going to execute that plan. Again, the best plan to have them avoid. Only get into a gunfight if it's an absolute last resort. So I got some actions. I got Julie doing some actions here. Number one, I got her escaping. She's leaving the area as quickly as possible. Or I got Julie drawing her gun, using her outside voice, giving commands. Now, I'll give you this example of me using my outside voice once. So when I was still living in Colorado, I used to go to Denny's a couple times a week because I was too lazy to cook my own eggs. And when I pulled up, I noticed a dude standing in the parking lot, and he looked like a homeless dude to me. Okay. And it was like 8:30 in the morning. So it wasn't late at night. And so I noticed him in my rearview mirror. I collected my stuff, got my phone, got my wallet, got my stuff. I was going to go in and do some work. When I was at Denny's, I was going to work and eat breakfast at the same time. And just before I got out of my car, I noticed him coming closer as I got out of the car. It wasn't before I got out of the car, it was actually before I got out of the car, or just after I got out of the car. So before I had a chance to even shut my door and to lock it, I went with my outside voice, stop. What's this international sign? Even if he couldn't hear me, he saw me with both hands up. Stop. Get away from me. Then I started looking around. Why did I look around? See if he had a friend. Okay, bad guys come with friends. Okay, started looking around. Also, I was looking around for other people who might be quote unquote witnesses. Right? So I started looking around, and he started mumbling. He said, and he kept coming towards me. And again, I went, stop, get away from me. I will defend myself. Now, did I say I was going to shoot him? No. Did I say I was going to knife him? Did I say I was going to punch him? I said I was going to do what? Now, how many different options do I have to defend myself? Lots. Yeah, absolutely. I've got lots. Okay. So then he walked off and mumbled and went away. And he was saying something about, hey, why are you being so mean to me? I was just going to ask you for some spare change. So I gathered up the rest of my stuff, shut my door, locked my car. And as I was walking up to the restaurant, two young ladies walked out. And they said, sir, are you okay? I went, yeah, I'm okay. Why? Oh, because we could hear you yelling inside the restaurant. So how loud was my outside voice? Get back! Exactly. So I need you to use your outside voice. Plus, if there are other people standing around, how many cell phones might come out? Video.
Yeah.
We tell our young kids in 1992, there was an incident that happened in LA called Riding King. And video cameras came out. Now, who does not have a camera on or about their person? I think even the new flip phones have cameras. Right? So I tell my young officers, everything you do is being recorded. So don't do anything that's going to embarrass yourself, your family, or your department. I'm going to tell you the same thing. Everything you're doing is being recorded. Don't embarrass yourself or your family or friends because of something you say or do. Okay? So these are the 4 conditions that Jeff gives us. Let's just go over them really quick. Condition white, totally unaware of everything that's going on. Really you cannot be in this condition. Condition yellow, relaxed, generally aware of everything that's going on around you. You are not paranoid. If you are carrying a gun, you are absolutely in condition yellow all the time. Especially when I'm out in public, I'm in condition yellow. If somebody or something catches my eye, I'm going to switch to condition orange. Now I'm specifically aware of that person or thing. I'm going to start to formulate plans, either try to avoid them or to prepare for an attack. And if I have to put that plan into action, that again is called condition red. And I've got some options. The best option again is to do what? Avoid it. Absolutely. So you might get a correspondence from me. It might say stay safe, stay in yellow, and we know what that means. Yes, sir.
Back to what you encountered, because you've got the experience and that was your job. To the basic person, you look in your rearview mirror, and then you can get into race, nationality, what's the guy's clothes look like. He comes up, he's a lawyer with a nice suit. You're probably not going to overreact. If he looks like he's homeless, it's that. How much do you decide when you use your outside voice that can be antagonistic prematurely for somebody that's not, for somebody that's not trained? You can escalate something by using your outside voice and maybe doing it prematurely. Any thoughts on the timing?
So the question basically is, I'm going to kind of paraphrase what you said because you said a lot. You know, can I use race, color, creed to make me feel uncomfortable? Can I say that? Or the way they're dressed. Okay. So we have a case in Colorado. I've got an 83-year-old man went to Ace Hardware, bought some bolts and nuts. He's leaving Ace Hardware. He's got his little bolts and nuts in a bag, and he's walking to his truck. Next to his truck, he sees what he perceives is a group of outlaw bikers, all wearing black T-shirts, leather jackets, jeans around their motorcycles. He goes, oh my gosh, there's a bunch of outlaw bikers there. So he comes to low ready with his gun and says, get away from my truck. These guys go, no problem, sir. They got on their bikes and they left. About 3 blocks later, I got police officers stopping my gentleman, 83-year-old gentleman in his truck, and they're ordering him out of the truck. So, turn your car off. Get out of the car. Throw your keys out. Okay. So we're doing what we call a felony traffic stop. Who are my 83-year-old man's outlaw bikers? Well, they're a bunch of 40-year-old doctors, lawyers, and such with their 22-year-old girlfriends out for a ride. It's a nice day. But he perceived them as danger based on the way they looked. Okay. Can I judge people by the way they look? Probably not. Okay. But there are people that make me feel uncomfortable. 3 young guys looking like what I recognize as criminals make me feel uncomfortable. Okay. So I just try to avoid them as best I can.
If I could just add to
Yes,
question real quick. I think what I found, my own personal experience, is no matter who it is, no matter what they look like, no matter what you got, when you're using your outside voice and you're issuing commands, be firm, but be friendly. And if you're friendly and respectful, you usually won't escalate that. But by being firm, you're making yourself very clear. If that helps.
Yeah. So firm and friendly. So as a firearms instructor, I've been to a lot of instructor classes, and I was given this information. Bob, it's not what you say or how you say it, it's how you make other people feel that is going to be the way that you become judged. How did I make you feel? It's not what I said or how I said it. It was more about how I made you feel. So in this case here, firm and friendly. I like that. Can I borrow that from you, John?
Sure.
I'm going to steal that from you. Okay. So John just gave me firm and friendly. So I'm going to use that. Okay. So we're talking about areas to avoid. I got Julie and I walking down the street. What's Bob doing? You see, Looks like I'm distracted, but Julia's away from the wall so that she can see what's around the corner sooner than later. When am I gonna see potential danger?
If you're knocked down.
Probably when it's too late. So as you walk down the street, do not walk right up against the side of the wall. Walk away from the wall so that you can see what's around the corner sooner than later. Hey, should I take that dark, dingy alley late at night to take that shortcut to get to my car? No, let's not do that. Let's walk around the street where it's all lit up and there's other people, and that'll keep me safe. And I'll put a few more steps on my Fitbit, which is going to be a good thing for me today, right? So let's walk around the block instead of walking right up against or walking down that dark, dingy alley. I go shopping at the Fashion Square Mall. I don't know, is that kind of a far place for you guys to go, Fashion Square Mall?
Oh, 40 minutes.
40 minutes, okay. So my friend Tracy's here. She knows the story. I went to go get my girlfriend a purse at Fashion Square Mall. And now I'm leaving the mall and I'm in the parking structure. Okay. So what are areas that I should avoid while I'm in the parking structure? What should I be thinking about? So the first thing is when you see downrange there, you'll see that it is dark, a dark area. So what does Bob do to avoid dark areas?
Avoid flashlight.
I avoid them. And what does Bob carry in his pocket every day? A flashlight. So then now I can light up that area to see if there's any evil there to steal my Louis Vuitton bag, right? Next thing I'm going to be looking for is barriers and cover and concealment. So I'm gonna, if I feel that there was a bad guy in front of me and I'm gonna put something between me and him, I'm gonna put a barrier. Even if that's a parking block on the ground, that's even enough of a barrier to help me stay a little bit more safe. I'm gonna be also be looking around for things called cover and concealment. Concealment hides me, but cover will actually hide me and stop bullets. So as I'm walking down this parking structure, I'm gonna start looking for cover. And we see those big concrete pillars, which is a great example of cover, things that will stop bullets, okay? I'm also going to be thinking about escape routes. I'm going to be looking around for escape routes, and your nearest exit might be behind you. Where have you ever heard that before? On an airplane. Why do you think they have you go through that little mental exercise on an airplane? I say just in case. Yeah. So as I'm walking down this parking structure, I'm going to be looking at cover, concealment, barriers, and escape routes. And my nearest escape route might be behind me. So even when I'm walking down the mall, I'm doing exactly the same thing. When I'm in the building, okay, I'm looking for those things. So no matter what building you go into, I want you to think about escape routes, just in case we need to get out of town right away. So I'm gonna, at this time, I'm gonna bring in where'd my friend Tracy go?
No, she went up.
Oh, hold on, half second.
Guess you avoided an escape. Huh?
Might have gone to the restroom, but that's okay, cool. So I'm gonna have Tracy come in here and talk to you.
Here.
Oh, I'm gonna have,
You said there were only 30 people here.
well, that's what I was told.
We had good crowd, good crowd.
That was
Everybody goes, oh, Bob's gonna be here. I'm gonna come with some Bob. Okay. I'm gonna bring my good friend Tracy up here now because what she is going to do, she's one of my absolute best friends here in the Valley today.
today, not tomorrow.
Right now. And what she's going to talk to you about is if you get involved in a fight, the aftermath. Now, I'm going to talk to you about what to do when you get in a fight. And she's passing out some things called 6 things you didn't know. And who wants to guess what number 1 is? Can you open number 1? Give me my glasses. What's number one say? You will be detained and possibly arrested. Okay. So got my former law enforcement officers here, raise your hand again, really high. How many here ever unfortunately had to use deadly force while you're on duty? Okay. I can't speak for you, I'll speak for me. I did not say a word formally or informally to any investigator until I had my attorney sitting right there next to me. Why would you? And so the answer is, well, Bob, why do I need an attorney? So as cops, what are we gonna say? Just tell me what happened. You don't need an attorney. It's okay. And then that's actually happened in real life. And people talk themselves into being charged with crime. I have some of those too. Because where's my attorneys again? We're in a foreign, in court, you're in a foreign land and they're speaking a foreign language. Can I say that? Yep, absolutely. So you want to have an interpreter, an attorney, with you in this foreign land and in this using this foreign language. So in my police officer involved shootings, my attorney was sitting right there, and before I said anything formally or informally, I actually had a conference with him, and he said, "Okay, Bob, just tell me what happened." And he wanted to know why I was there, what happened, what I saw, what I see, what I smell, what I feel, and why I did what I did. He said, "Okay, Bob, those are all good words, but instead of saying that, say this." Was he changing my story? No. He was just having me use the right words. Okay. I used the right words, so consequently, the district attorney felt that I was reasonable in my actions because I said the right words. And they called me up on my first shooting. I'll never forget this. On that, they let me go home, and the district attorney called me up and said, "Bob, I got some good news and I got some bad news. What do you want first?" So what's the answer to that question? I said, "No, give me the good news." Okay. He said, well, you know, Bob, I do want to give you the good news, but I'm going to give you the bad news first. Okay. So the bad news is you were involved in a homicide. But the good news is it's justified. Now, from the time he said you were involved in a homicide until he said it was justified, I think my heart stopped for like that 8 seconds between homicide and justified. Okay. So that was a good thing, right? Can I say that? But again, what really helped me out was my attorney sitting right there when I was making those statements. Okay. So what Tracy is going to do, she's going to come here and she is going to talk to you about the benefits of being a member of the United States Concealed Carry Association. Raise your hand really high if you're a member. Cool. So we've got a couple, 6 members, maybe 7, 8. Okay, I didn't count those as fast as you. So she's going to talk to you about that. Please give her your undivided attention and listen to everything she has to say because it's very important. And I only brought her up here because of the importance that she has and the information she has to give you. And then when we get done, when she gets done with her presentation and answering all your questions, then you and we're going to talk about how to keep yourself safe in your home. Okay, fair enough? Cool. So take all the time you need. Ready, set, go.
All right. Good morning, everyone. How are you today? Fantastic. So real quick, I am Tracy Berry. I am actually with Delta Defense, which is the service provider for the United States Concealed Carry Association, otherwise known as the USCCA. Saw a couple bunch of hands come up. I know the couple back here. How long have you guys been members?
About 6 months. 6
months? Okay, what did you join 6 months ago?
Very realizing the exposure
Repeat the question, Tracy.
Thank you for being a member.
So-
All right.
Make sure you repeat what he said, so people in the back.
So what he said is he joined about 6 months ago, and he did it because he's gonna carry and for the legal ramifications that can occur. I put it in terms like this: you could do everything right in a self-defense incident. Clear case of self-defense. However, there is no black and white in this arena. It is gray across the board. I was actually involved in a self-defense incident back in 1994 in San Jose, California, when I was a college kid. I'll just share it with you right now. Back in 94, on a Thursday night in October, I came home from my night class. Oh, let me preface it. In 94, I was driving a 94 Z28 Camaro with an LT1 mid-engine, T-tops, and locked out rims. Okay? After my incident, I took a look at my lifestyle and thought, you know what? It's a really bad idea to make myself a target. Probably need to rethink my lifestyle. So I currently drive a beautiful blue Kia Sportage. Okay? Now, if you know anything about California law, back in the 90s, really difficult to have a permit to carry your firearm at that time. I owned a firearm. It was upstairs in my apartment when I was being assaulted downstairs in my carport. Didn't do me a whole lot of good. So I am a huge advocate of those other tools that we can carry. I carry a knife, I carry bear spray, and I carry Glock 19. Those are my 3 tools that I carry with me everywhere I go. Now, pulled in my carport parking spot at about 10:30 night for my night class, getting ready to turn the ignition off, caught a glimpse of something out of the corner of my eyes. I looked over and I was staring down the barrel of 2 firearms. I had 2 dirt bags with 2 guns pointed right at my head. No training, no education, firearm upstairs, and you actually only have 1.5 seconds to decide if you're gonna stop a threat, which means we don't have time to think about it. You actually have to go train, right? Now, in that split second of that 1.5 seconds, I thought, I am not going to die tonight. I will not be a victim. And the only tool I had on me at that moment was my car. So I thought, I'm gonna use this. I lit it up in reverse. They actually went flying out of my way. They didn't want to get hit either. They didn't even die that night. Now I did escape. I did call the police. The police did come and the police did catch those 2 dirtbags. So yay for the police. Now, we are told to cooperate with law enforcement when they arrive on scene. You guys, they'll be the first ones to tell you they're not there to be our friends. They're there to do their job. And let's face it, they have a terrible job nowadays, bottom line. Now, their job is essentially gathering information, writing up a report, and figuring out if cuffs are going on you or not, and if you're going in the back of that police car. Now, I work with law enforcement across the state. I work with criminal defense attorneys across the state. They actually both agree that we need to keep our mouths shut until we have an attorney present, because what we say can and will be used against us. One wrong word coming out of your mouth that you think is perfectly okay can flip the entire narrative of how that whole situation turns out after that. Now, these guys were caught, firearms on them, admitted they had been pulling them to my head. They also admitted they had been staking me out for about 6 weeks, learning my whole routine, which is why starting from this moment forward, if it's not already a 24/7, 365 kind of thing with your life, you have to be situational aware in everything that you do, period, end of story. Now, I was the victim. I didn't have anything to hide. I was more than happy to cooperate. So I gave those 2 officers my statement. Told them, came home, pulled in my spot, looked over, had 2 guns at my head, thought they were going to kill me. And when I lit it up in reverse, I was grateful that those 2 idiots were smart enough to get the heck out of my way, so I didn't have to hit them with my car and stop that threat to save my own life that evening. Fair enough, right? They put me in that position. Well, those 2 officers informed me if I had chosen to use my vehicle and hitting them to stop the threat and save my own life that evening, that they would have put me in handcuffs, put me in the back of their police car, taken me to jail, and would have charged me with aggravated assault or vehicular manslaughter. Now, that was in 1994. We live in 2023. Society is getting so much better, right? Which is why you guys are in here today listening to Bob, right? To figure out having some plans, getting in that mindset, because we obviously don't live in the best society currently. So 3 things that the USCCA does do is get you mentally, physically, and legally prepared. Like I said, you have 1.5 seconds to decide if you're going to stop a threat. Takes you to the physical. If you're going to carry a firearm on you or have one in your home, you have to go on that range and fire off those rounds and build up your muscle memory. It's a skill that you're going to lose if you're not using it. If you are using that tool and you're not training, how are you gonna be accurate and proficient if you're ever in the fight for your life to save yourself or someone you love? You're not. The USCCA also offers online training courses. They are called Protector Academy classes. They're in the privacy of your own home from your personal computer. You take what you learn online from those training courses, head back out onto the range, fire off those rounds and see if those trainings actually work for you. I put it in terms like this: you darn well better be 150% proficient with whatever tool you're using so that you're actually alive to use the third aspect of the USCCA, which is the legal or self-defense liability insurance. It is very expensive if you are involved in a self-defense incident, even if you've done everything right. It's up to the county prosecutor to determine if charges are going to be filed against you or not. Now, with that said, I actually break down the cost of a self-defense incident here in the Valley. Say I'm involved in an incident where I just unholstered my firearm. I haven't pointed it at anybody, it didn't go bang, I just unholstered it. That act alone is considered aggravated assault here in Arizona. Comes with a minimum prison term of 7.5 years with a maximum of 22 years in the Arizona State Penitentiary if I'm found guilty. Calling around the Valley looking for a really good criminal defense attorney who's going to prove clear case of self-defense, shouldn't have been charged, but here I am having to shell out a lot of money. What do you think the attorney alone pre-trial is going to cost you? Any guesses?
200,000.
200,000, right? Anybody else? All right, so it's between $50,000 and $75,000 pre-trial. It's cash, cashier's check, or money order. You're not allowed to have a public defender in this state unless you're basically considered indigent. So if you have a house, you're gonna sell it and pay for your own attorney. If you have assets, liquidate them. Now, $150,000 to $250,000 is the fee if it actually goes to trial. That is the criminal side. Now you have civil. We live in a litigious society. Take the life of somebody or injure somebody and you are probably gonna get hit with a civil lawsuit. No bones, no way getting around that. So the self-defense liability insurance offered through the USCCA covers the criminal and the civil side. Now, real quick, I think everybody got one of these black brochures here, right? Inside of them is a white piece of paper that looks like this. If you pull that white piece of paper out, I'll actually go over the 3 levels of membership the USCCA does have to offer. Now, the fantastic thing about a USCCA membership, the self-defense liability insurance coverage is the same on all 3 of those levels. Doesn't matter if you choose the gold, the platinum, or the elite, your coverage is the same on all 3. What level are you on, sir?
Platinum.
Platinum, what about you, a couple back there? Platinum, that's the most popular, okay. But like I said, the self-defense liability insurance coverage is the same on all 3. But training and education is very important. So all 3 levels of membership give you no limit defense expenses on the criminal and on the civil side. It is exactly the way it sounds. Yes.
I'm an elite
Okay.
level member, but often I wonder, is it really worth it to be on the elite side?
If you're taking
Because
advantage,
you're right, a lot of the stuff, they all share the same thing.
the insurance side of it is all the same on all 3.
Right.
The training, it depends if you're gonna take advantage of those online training courses. If you're not utilizing them, then possibly you should downgrade. That's a choice you have to
That's
make.
one of the reasons why I'm here today.
Yeah, if you're not utilizing the training, training's key, bottom line, you have to be trained. But if you're not utilizing it, then I would say you probably should downgrade, and that's my honest opinion. All right.
I'd much rather take, the training's very good,
It
so.
is very good. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yes,
A quick question.
Sure.
Is this, now?
it is national. Yes.
Okay, so it'll cover us like what's market.
Oh, I'm sorry. So, I moved from California to Washington to give my kids a better life and lasted 4 years there. Ended up here thankfully. Unfortunately, Washington, New York, and New Jersey residents are not allowed to have a USCCA membership. That is, how many of you are from Washington here?
Really?
Okay,
I used to be a member and they canceled me
They
for that
canceled
reason.
so with that said, that is not a USCCA provision. That is your legislatures. Your government in the state of Washington, New York, and New Jersey will not allow this to occur and have access to a self-defense liability insurance. They consider it, I hate to say it, do you want to say it? Okay. So,
but as an Arizona resident, if I go there, I'm covered.
right, but as but there's like 10 people from Washington. If you're an Arizona resident going into Washington State, New York, and New Jersey, and you have a membership, then you're covered. And an act of self-defense. Does that make sense? Yes. Oh,
It's an insurance thing, the insurance
go
regulators.
ahead. I'll do them first.
It just seems so
wrong.
He's been a member for 12 or 15 years.
The greatest value that I found is I travel across the US all the time.
Right.
What am I covered for if I'm sealed versus permit versus all the other?
Right. You do. He's saying the biggest value is him traveling across the United States and having that aspect of knowing what you can and can't carry on you as a legal tool in those, because it varies from state to state, and ignorance is not an excuse of what you can and can't carry. Yes, sir.
If you have a personal liability
Mhm.
umbrella, things like that, how does your insurance?
So your homeowner's insurance does not cover you in an act of self-defense.
Personal liability.
Personal liability umbrellas do not. You can have a $5 million rider.
So I thought they did.
Typically, they don't, because there's an intent clause in our homeowners and on the umbrellas. And they consider a self-defense incident an act of intentional act. Because you have intentionally decided you are going to stop that threat.
Isn't there, I looked at your program a year ago, and there was some statement about interfacing with private insurance, and I don't remember that. You use the private insurance or private expenses before you use your expenses in the program. Is that right or is that wrong?
So if you have two different, so he's saying that you can they utilize the primary insurance before the USCCA would kick in. So no. So if you have two policies with the USCCA and somebody else, then the first policy would kick in. First,
Somebody else that supplies.
self-defense liability insurance, correct. There's no other organization out there that's gonna cover you on the civil side. That's a big difference between the USCCA and other organizations out there. So let me I'll go through the levels of membership real quick. So all three levels of membership, no limit defense expenses on the criminal and on the civil side. It's exactly the way it sounds. Whether your criminal defense is $80,000 or the $2.6 million Kyle Rittenhouse's case cost, there is no limit to your criminal defense, and everything regarding your defense is also included. Whether it be private investigators, polygraph experts, expert witnesses, anything's included. Now, also bail, up to $100,000 for bail, up to $20,000 for incidentals, which include a couple of things: biohazard cleanup and firearm replacement, and then also up to $750 a day for loss of earnings. On the civil side, no limit defense expenses on that civil side as well. However, like I said, what the USCCA includes are damages. No other organization out there is going to write a check if you're sued civilly and lose in civil court, or it would get settled outside of civil court. And that is up to $2 million annually. That allows you to keep your assets that you've worked your whole life for. Now, on the back side of the form here, where it says gold, platinum, and elite, that gives you a breakdown of the training courses you get with each level. Gold's going to give you 34 plus lessons. They are handgun and marksmanship fundamentals training, as well as children's firearm safety training. Platinum in the middle is actually the most popular plan, gives you 131 plus lessons. The first 2 lessons are included, and then you're going to add in first aid fundamentals training and defensive shooting fundamentals training. Elite on the end gives you every bit of training, education, resource, and benefit the USCCA does offer. First 4 lessons are included, and then you add in emergency preparedness fundamentals training, and something that we've unfortunately seen rise across our country over the last several years are mass shootings. So there is training on how to counter the mass shooter as well. Now, when you flip the page back over to the front side, I do point out the gold level membership. Like I said, the self-defense liability insurance coverage is the same on all 3. You take out of that membership what you want, and as a member, you are an added insured to the policy that is held by the USCCA. Now, starting at 82 cents a day, you are mentally, physically, and legally prepared with that gold level membership. Platinum is $39 a month, Elite is $49 a month. If you're legally married, you can actually add your spouse, and I highly recommend it, for half price. It's the same coverage and benefits and resources at only half the cost. Now you are covered in any lawful act of self-defense with any legal weapon of opportunity that is not federally excluded, which means it doesn't have to be a firearms related incident. I don't know how many of you actually carry on a regular basis. My car was my legal tool in 1994. Had the USCCA existed and had I been a member and had I hit them, that would have triggered coverage for me. my firearm that I currently carry, my bear spray, my knife, it's any legal tool. You are also covered in all 50 states as well as territories of the United States. So sounds like a bunch of people in here do actually travel. We are not the ones picking the time and the place of an incident occurring. Please keep that in mind. The bad guy is the one choosing that for us, unfortunately. That is why it is so important to have that confidence with us everywhere that we go. Now, on the bottom right-hand side of the form, if anyone in the room is former or active law enforcement, first responder, or military personnel, please check that box down there. And the USCCA does offer a 10% discount as a thank you for your service. And then at the very top of the page, and I very much love that the USCCA does offer this. The USCCA offers a 365-day, 100% money back guarantee. It is exactly the way it sounds, you guys. It allows you to join with me this morning. It gives you from this morning until January 17th of 2024. If for any reason or no reason at all, you decide you'd like to cancel that membership, you simply call customer service, you cancel the membership, and then request a full refund. They will credit you back every penny you paid up until those 365 days. Now, they do it for two reasons. One, when people join, they typically stay as members. There's about 8 or 9 of them in the room right now. But two, that gives you guys the opportunity to try it out. And that is what I tell people. Take advantage of the training and education. It truly is top notch. Every single shooting range in this valley is actually partnered with the USCCA. Because of the training and the education, and because the self-defense liability insurance coverage that's offered cannot be touched by any other organization that's out there. Now, I do have 2 more things real quick. As a member of the USCCA, you will also receive 8 issues of this award-winning magazine. It's called Concealed Carry. It is more training and education. It offers true life stories from people just like me who thought it's never going to happen. You know what? It does happen, unfortunately. What they did right and what they did wrong. Back half of every other issue is dedicated specifically to women. It is a very unfortunate FBI statistic that we as women are 70% more likely to be involved in a self-defense incident over a man. Now for the good stuff real quick. When you join with me this morning on the platinum or elite level, you're gonna walk out of here with one of these beautiful black plastic ammo cans with not 1 round of ammo in it. However, it does have some good stuff. First thing is your temporary ID card. The permanent one with your name and ID comes in about a week. Back of the card here is an 877 number. This is your second phone call after 911. 24/7, 365 takes you to the critical response team. They gather your information and then they reach out to an attorney in the area that incident occurred in, and we'll get that attorney to you on scene or to the police station before you make a statement. Over 1,300 attorneys across the country are part of the network. However, if you have a really good criminal defense attorney that you'd like to use, that is another avenue that the insurance will pay for. Very bottom of the card here, post-incident instructions. It tells you exactly what to say. I'm more than happy to cooperate with you, officer, but I'd like my attorney present first. You have to invoke your right to counsel in the state of Arizona. There is also a Stars and Stripes USCCA hat in here. There's also a USCCA patch for your gun bag or another hat. There's also a fantastic training book. I actually take this book on the range with me. 10 drills to improve your shooting skills. When you open the book up, it has the drill on one side and a place to document your training on the other side. I use it for the back of the book. You have your target, you have center targets. All of those things around center target are the things you're doing incorrectly. So if I'm out on the lane and I'm pulling bottom right on my target, I'm actually looking at the book. It tells me what I'm doing incorrectly. It says I'm tightening my grip while I'm pressing the trigger. I'm gonna loosen up on my grip and I'm gonna get right back on center target to be accurate and proficient. There is a bullet inside of here. When you unscrew it, however, it is a USB. You are gonna put that USB in the hard drive of your home computer. It has more training drills on it. That is the key to being successfully living after involved in a self-defense incident. Now, the drills that are on that bullet there actually go with a yellow Glock 17 training firearm that you use and treat like a live loaded firearm. Do the drills that are on that bullet and any other training drills you're interested in doing. Give it to somebody in your life that's not firearms ready yet. My daughter's 11. Used to go to the range with me and fire 1 round, put the firearm down and say, Mommy, I'm done. Problem, I have a couple of firearms in my home. So I wanted her confidence up here. Second thing is God forbid somebody ever would break into our house and threaten her. I want her to defend herself properly and be able to live. So I gave her the yellow gun, gave her some drills. It took her 9 months. But 9 months later came up to me one day and said that she was ready to take some more training. And that was my whole end game, was to get her to that level of confidence. That is the USCCA, you guys. You do have the opportunity of joining with me this morning on either monthly or annual. You're not locked into any level of membership as well. You could theoretically start on the platinum, walk out of here with the ammo can, call customer service later today or tomorrow and downgrade to gold. You could upgrade to elite if the training is something that path that you want to go on to get all that training. You're never locked into anything. You have 365 days to try it out. And that's what I tell people. Take advantage of the training and education that's top notch. It is not all firearms related, by the way. There is situational awareness videos. There is videos on if there's a mass shooting happening, what's your better option of concealment and coverage in that type of scenario. So it is not all firearms related. What questions do you guys have for me?
I have one
Yes,
on the attorneys.
Yes.
1,300 attorneys nationwide.
correct.
And I'm
There's over
concerned
1,300
we've
attorneys.
got, at least 12 or 15 here in the Phoenix area,
There is,
probably more.
yes.
Do we have access to find out who they are before a situation happens and be able to contact those attorneys' offices and maybe interview them to see who we like before an incident? That way it's all ready to go if an incident happens.
So his question was, do you have access to the list of attorneys? As a member, you have access to the list of attorneys on your member dashboard. That's the first thing. The second thing was, can you interview those attorneys and make them your attorney preference? Yes, you can. Absolutely.
Great.
What other questions do you guys have? Nothing. All right. So this is what I tell classes. It takes 2 minutes to fill out the form. I actually sit here and key those forms in here. The one piece of information that I don't require you put on those forms is your credit card information. I have unfortunately seen these left in classrooms and ranges across the valley. Bad idea to have all that personal information floating around out there. Your membership is effective before I leave here today. You get the ammo can from me as well. If you join on gold, you do get a temporary ID card. And I tell people, put those ID cards in your wallet immediately until your permanent ones come, because you just don't know when things are going to happen. I will not be here for the end of your session. I came from the East Valley and I'm going back to the East Valley to hit Cowsballs after this. So if you want to take 2 minutes to fill it out, I can walk around the room and get you guys all keyed in. I appreciate your time. Stay safe.
Thanks, Tracy. So, stand by.
You're looking down at your phone.
Thank you.
Busted.
Busted.
Anybody thinking about joining today?
Thank you very much, Tracy. Raise your hand really high if you're ready to sign up right now. Cool. So she'll be walking around the room and she will read your information. I'm a member. I've been a member since 2014. And I'm an elite member because I really like the training and education. But I think, what was is it platinum?
Platinum.
Platinum is the most popular, great place to start. As she mentioned, you're not locked in. You can move up or down, left or right. Did you understand that, John? Cool.
I put in terms like this. Do we all have cars in here?
Raise your hand really high if you drive a car.
Do we all have car insurance on said car?
Raise your hand, keep your hand up really high if you have car insurance.
All right, I spend $1,500 a year to drive a blue Kia Sportage around the valley, and I haven't been in an accident since 1991.
Way before you were born.
I wish. It is, that's kind of the mindset, to have all three of those components and train. So that's kind of where I put it at.
If you're driving a car, if you're driving a gun, you need protection. Let's say that. Okay. So as Tracy's walking around, if she doesn't see that you are ready to do that, make sure you grab her. And she's probably going to be here for the next
Well, I won't leave until
20
everybody's keyed in.
20 minutes, yeah.
Can I just ask one question
Sure.
of her, real quick, because if it confuses me, I'm sure there's probably others it kind of confuses.
Okay,
You're USCCA,
right.
but you're also Delta Defense. Can you
Right.
explain the relation
The
between
relation,
those
so
two?
he said, I'm USCCA, but I'm also Delta Defense. So put it in terms of this way, USCCA holds the policy, Delta is the parent company or the service provider that does all the marketing for the USCCA. I'm considered a Delta Defense employee, but I sell a USCCA product. I put it in terms of it's a parent company. It's the easiest way.
Thank you very much. I've had a couple of questions while Tracy was talking about me. So I'll just address those right now. Somebody goes, Bob, do you do firearms training? The answer to that is yes. I do private lessons, also do group lessons. So those of you that might be interested in taking a private lesson with me, you've already sent me a text, yes. Your head up and down like this. In that text that you sent me, just add in, Bob, get a hold of me about doing some private lessons, okay? I also do a concealed carry class. I'm doing it the last weekend of this month. I've got some information about it. So those of you that would like to come to that class to be able to apply for your Arizona concealed handgun permit, you do not have to be a resident of the state of Arizona. You have to be a U.S. resident. Though. Sorry, dude. So if you're a resident of another state, you can get what's called a non-resident Arizona carry concealed permit. And one of the biggest advantages that I have with my Arizona carry permit is I can carry in 37 other states, concealed on or about my person with my Arizona permit. So that's one of the biggest advantages of having a permit versus, we talked about earlier, constitutional carry, no permit required. If I do not have a permit, as soon as I cross state lines, I cannot carry concealed in that other state. Does that make sense? Yes, ma'am.
Would that the same be true if I have a concealed carry permit in the state of Washington?
So if you have a concealed carry permit in the state of Washington, there are other states that have reciprocity with the state of Washington. So I'm going to give you all a app to download on your phone. So if you want to grab your phone and go to your app store, or if you want to take a note, you can do that.
Can you answer her question? There's no reciprocity between Washington and Arizona.
There is not. The left coast, the right coast, and then Illinois and Minnesota, Michigan.
Okay.
One of those M states up there, there's no reciprocity.
Okay.
So what I do is I go to the app. So if you go to the app store and you search USCCA reciprocity, and I don't ask me how to spell reciprocity. That's like a 5-syllable word. That's a big word for a smart company.
It's like you don't get Wi-Fi here.
You can download that app. You can say, hey, app, I have a permit in the state of Washington, and the app will pop up all the states that have reciprocity with the state of Washington.
Okay.
So again, if you want to write this down, or if you want to go to the app store, it is USCCA reciprocity. It's a black tile app and a brown colored state, United States map is the way I see it. Also, it has information, like when I go into the state of New Mexico, the app will tell me, Bob, you're in New Mexico now, and here are specific gun laws in the state of New Mexico, because I still need to follow specific gun laws in those different states with my Arizona carry permit, because there are some states that have different laws, and being ignorant of the law is not a defense. So Tracy's boss came from the state of Nebraska. You know what the N on the Nebraska helmet stands for? Anybody here from Nebraska? So I have 2 cousins, their father, my uncle, and his grandfather all played for football at the University of Nebraska. And freshmen do not have an N on their helmet until they become sophomores, because now they have the knowledge be able to play football for the university. Not my joke, it's my cousin's joke. So in the state of Nebraska, I cannot carry a gun concealed on or about my person or open carry in any financial institution. So if I go into bank XYZ, Wells Fargo, if I go into the lobby, if I'm wearing a gun, that's against the law in the state of New Mexico. It is not against the law in the state of Arizona, but it is against the law in the state of Nebraska. So different states have different laws, and the app that I just gave you gives you that information about those different laws in those different states. That makes sense? It's free. It's a free app. Do not pay for an app. It's a free app. It's well worth it. So take advantage of those resources. Again, that's from the USCCA. USCCA reciprocity. Don't ask me how to spell reciprocity. R-E-S.
RECIPROCIT. Something I ran out of.
I went to an all-boys Catholic Jesuit high school. I know math and science. I know nothing about English. Those Jesuit priests didn't teach me anything about English.
If you hit the little microphone thing, if it's on your iPhone, you hit the little microphone thing, you can just tell it USCCA reciprocity. Bring it up.
Yeah, usually my watch, every once in a while, Siri on my watch will go, I don't understand what you're saying, Mom. And I have to hide Siri on my watch. Okay. What I want to do now is I want to switch gears. I'm going to talk about protection in your home. And then we'll kind of do a summary of everything that we talked about. Again, any questions you might have, don't hesitate to spark up. So unfortunately, what a lot of us do is we spend a lot of time and effort being able to protect ourselves and our family outside our homes. I got the situational awareness, got a gun on, I'm looking around, I'm doing a great job. As soon as I get in my house, I just turn all that great knowledge, that great habits off. We can't do that. We need to be just as vigilant in our homes to be able to stay safe as we are when we're out in public. So in our homes, it's easy to fall into condition white. When we are, in our homes, there have been break-ins, and there's two different types. There's one of burglary. A burglary is defined as an act, a bad guy comes in your home and nobody's home. Then there's home invasions. That's when bad guys come into your home and you are home. The FBI does a great job at collecting statistics. And unfortunately, in the statistic world, they do not differentiate between bad guys coming in your home when you're either home or not home. So burglary or home invasion. They don't separate those two. So unfortunately, we don't necessarily have good information from them about that. It is our personal responsibility, which we have to take very seriously, to be able to protect ourselves and our families when we're at home. So there's some statistics here that I'm going to kind of read because I can't remember them off the top of my head. But according to the FBI, 34% of the time, the bad guys come through your front door. Okay, 22% of the times they'll come through the back door, and then 23% of the time they'll come through windows, primarily the front window. So those are the areas that I need to try to harden to be able to keep myself and my family safe.
Can I make a comment?
Yep, absolutely.
I would say if you're thinking at all about it, it's probably the best source, and I'm not shilling for them. I've used the tools regularly. But the thing, if you look at the current edition that's out, the whole edition is home security. It is the most knowledge enhancing thing you can possibly want, in addition to the information I assume Bob is going to talk about.
So where's that source? What,
It's the.
where's that? Oh, USCCA's resource. Oh, yeah. So, yep, thank you very much. There's a free pamphlet that you can get on a PDF called Protecting Your Home or Home Defense or whatever. This also happens to start on page 45 in the book that you might have in front of you. Talks about home defense. One of the easiest things that we can do to help keep ourselves safe in our home, and remembering that the front door is where most bad guys come in, is just by replacing the strike plate and the screws that hold that in. Now the screws are like a 1/2 inch. But if we actually take those screws out, screws that you can very inexpensively at your Home Depot, your Ace Hardware or whatever, you can probably even get the same color as your hinges or as your strike plate, if they're silver or is it gold or brass? Whatever, okay? You can probably even get those screws to match. Just by changing those with just a few pennies, you can actually strengthen your front door. Yes, sir.
That saved my house. I put 4-inch screws in there right into the 2x4. And when I came home off 3 days out of town, my wife was working. I had about a dozen foot tick marks in my door and busted it all up, but they never got through the door.
Great. So he just gave an example that he had changed the screws to 4-inch instead of 3-inch, as I mentioned. And that probably was just enough to keep the bad guys out of his house. Now, are bad guys going to sit there and continue to kick the door if they can't get in after 2 or 3 kicks? The answer to that's probably no. They're probably going to go to the next house, right? So in this case here, just by spending a few pennies to replace those screws is a great way to be able to protect your front door. Now, again, the secondary place after the back door is windows. So I have some really good friends of mine. They actually are here in the Valley. They have a company called American Safe Rooms USA. And they actually put a film on your windows that will increase the strength of your windows. They have 3 levels. The first level is what they call riot or break. And the film actually keeps your windows from being broken. This next level is called riot, which is a little bit stronger than break. And it's actually rated for 2x4s flying in the air at like 40 miles an hour for those people that live in the Midwest, right? Or somebody that comes in with a crowbar, they can't break it out. And then the last level is actually bulletproof or bullet resistant. It'll actually stop pistol bullets from coming into your house. So those are 3 different levels. If you want more information about what they do, send me a text with the text link that you already have. Bob, tell me more about your window guides. And I will send you the website and the contact information for my friends. They're in Scottsdale over by the Scottsdale Airport, where some of you, I think, have your airplanes parked, right? So anyway, they can actually come out and harden your windows, which is a great thing to do also. So it starts on page 45 in your book, and we can start to evaluate our house. And one of the things that's really cool in the book is a home checklist. See if I can make this bigger. Who's got a book in front of them?
There you go.
Young lady, tell me if I'm right on page 45. Oops. It should be a home defense checklist.
No, we sell those. We sell them.
Oh, page 50, my bad. I guess page 45 starts the home defense section in the book. So on page 50, you can actually, instead of trying to memorize this, you'll actually have that in front of you. Is this also in that USCCA brochure? I might also be in. Okay. So here it's going to talk about lights, general appearance, and then alarms. Strangely enough, a lot of us have alarms, but guess how many people don't set their alarm? A lot. Okay. We'll go over the number one reason why people don't set their alarms, but it's kind of, for me, it's kind of interesting why we don't. So we don't set our alarms because we have pets. Okay, so we think our pet's going to actually set it off. 60 to 81% of us do not set our alarms when we go on vacation. Some of us will actually set them before we go to bed. And you're that vigilant. And I commend you for that. Yes, sir.
Anything that would protect the garage door. Years ago, our neighbor up the street, his wife had wood cabinets. And he left home one day, put the door down. He didn't lock the door going into his house, and he didn't turn on the alarm. And left the keys to the car in the house. But it was through the garage door. You told us that there's a mechanism, like a little machine, that they can twist that. And they can basically put your frequency. Their garage door and it goes up. You know that to stop that?
So I don't, but I would get a hold of my. So
Would you
the
repeat
question
that?
is there a way to help negate bad guys from getting the frequencies that open my electric garage door? Is that the right? Yep. I don't know the answer to that question, but I would go to my garage door opener company and ask them that question. What we experienced in Colorado, have you ever had to pull the cord to manually be able to raise it up? Well, when the garage door is down, that cord is very close to the door. And so bad guys knew that they would fish some type of a coat hanger or something up through the garage door and then pull that down to manually open your garage. So the next thing is, do I need to lock the door between my garage and my home? And the answer to that's yes. Should I set my alarm when I leave? And the answer to that is probably. Yes, sir.
I could answer this gentleman's question. I live in Trilogy also, like you all do. From your garage door to enter into your house, where you can manually push the button, push the white button to open your garage. Underneath there, there's two switches. You could shut off your, at night, you could push the one switch and you could shut off your frequency where you couldn't even get into your garage window. It's a lock if the garage door opener won't work.
Yeah, so
Push the button.
Yeah, your panel's gonna be like this, and then underneath your panel, there's two buttons. There's gonna be a button there. If you push that button, your frequency will be shut off. So it'll be locked. It says locked on it.
Okay.
That's
cool.
what you can do at night if you feel like it.
So can I ask you this? Can you guys get together and you can go over to his house and you can show him that?
If he wants me to, sure.
If you want him to come over
I'm
and do that?
assuming he's got the same.
Okay, cool. Yes, sir.
I do.
A lot of the homes, if you look at your garage door, you have the channels that the rollers go through to open it. I know in my house, there's some cutouts. And then there's a piece on the garage door itself, and you could put a metal bar between the thing. And that now, I don't care what they do, they can't lift the garage door because the bar is blocked.
Yeah, so a lot of us will put like a bar or a stick in the tray of our sliding windows. And what I'm hearing this man say, he put a bar through a couple of holes between the door and the
Garage door and the
rail.
rails that.
Yeah, to be able to manually lock that. Yes, sir.
And I put that.
Yeah.
I put just a regular lock through there. So
Yeah,
the way
absolutely.
that what you put in there, they can take out. But by lock, you can't take out.
Right, and it's gonna be very difficult for them to do what he did outside But when they're inside your home and if they want to take your BMW, because the keys are in the BMW, they'll need to open the garage door. And by doing what you do, they won't be able to open the garage. Yes, yeah. Yes, sir.
So in the garage, if you manage to get into the garage and you have a house that's along, my house is along the past two homes that we are, our homes were also along. But one thing that they seem to forget is that access up in the garage. To the
Attic,
Crawl space.
crawl space attic.
and then go across to the other side and then back down.
Yep. So that's a great point. I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
So what he's talking about is access to your home from your garage through some type of a hatchway, attic, door in your garage. And you probably want to do something to secure.
Yeah,
Oh, you had it on. Awesome. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Great point. I didn't even think of that. I'm glad you did. I actually went to some burglaries where bad guys went into this building and went through the roads to the next attached building in the strip mall. And they were able to burglarize the store next door because of that. So,
also cameras.
yeah,
I mean, I don't want to get too exotic, but I mean, no camera in backyard, you're getting more than television.
hold on for a second.
Is anybody else looking to join the USCCA before I take off today?
I have one for you.
That young man right there.
There's a lot of you that I hope you're considering it, doing research, whatever the case may be, talking it over with your spouse. If it's something you guys do decide to do later on, please do me a huge, huge favor of calling me directly. The 714 number that's on the front of this brochure is me. I escaped California. I live in the East Valley. I just couldn't get rid of the California number. Or on the back of this brochure here, there is a link. If you type in that uscca.co/Tracy B into your browser, you can join online through that. I beg of you, do not call USCCA's customer service or go to uscca.com. I do not get the credit for it. Honestly, this is how I feed my two kids. I'm passionate about what I do and I believe in what I do. So if I can get the credit, I would highly appreciate it. If any of you have questions as well, please reach out to me directly. That number is good any time of the day. I work 7 days a week, more or less. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you have. Have a great day, you guys. Stay safe.
I think that really quick, that last bullet point, homes that have alarms are 3 times less likely to be broken into. Again, it's always a good idea to set those. Yes, sir.
You didn't talk about lights, but you notice that all of the breaker panels and the homes out here are on the outside of the house. And so you're gonna have a criminal that wants to break in. What are you gonna do? Flip the switch, turn off all the power, and now it's totally dark inside. So you can lock, there's actually a way you can lock that. I've gone even further. I went to Costco and I bought these kind of the emergency lights. So you know when the power goes out, the emergency light goes on. And I have 4 of those scattered throughout the house. So even if they were to shut off the power, those lights would automatically go on. They're gonna see lights in the house and go, we turned the power off. Oh shit, I'm gonna go somewhere else. No, you plug it into a wall socket. And if the power goes out, you know, there's a battery inside, but when the lights go out, it automatically goes off.
The next thing I want to talk about is you need to come up with a plan in your home to be able to get to a safe place. If a bad guy comes in your house, you do not want to go toe to toe with the bad guy in the front row or in the doorway. You actually want to gather up your family, go to a safe room that you've already predetermined and lock the doors and call the police. Okay, so this diagram here just shows a little diagram that gives you an idea of what to do. I think the question earlier was, if a bad guy comes in my house and I just go ahead and shoot him, okay? And the answer to that is yes and no. Okay? In my use of force class, I'm going to tell you you can use deadly physical force to protect yourself and your family when you immediately feel that you are in danger of death or great bodily harm to yourself or another person. Okay, so if you hear your front door break, you go, oh my gosh, somebody's breaking in my house, and you get your gun and you see me walking out the front door with your big screen TV, can you shoot me in the back?
No. The next
No.
question.
You can use your outside voice and go, stop, I'm gonna watch the Super Bowl and the golf tournament on the 12th that my significant other just bought me that new big screen TV, so don't take it. Now I come at you and I got that big screen TV over my head, like I'm gonna smash it into your face, can you shoot me down? Can you use force to protect yourself?
Perhaps.
Perhaps, okay? If I hit you over the head with a big screen TV, could that cause serious damage to you?
Yes.
So you can use force reasonable to be able to protect yourself. That might be a gun, okay? Might be an option. So we have a story, I have a story of a man in Colorado Springs, Colorado. This happened about 5-6 years ago around Christmas time. And he hears glass breaking in his house. He goes, oh my gosh, a bad guy's coming in my house. He gets his gun, he goes to his door, he looks out into his living room and he sees a shadowy figure crawling through the window. He goes, oh my gosh, somebody's in my house. I feel threatened, I'm gonna shoot him. So he gets his gun and he shoots the shadowy figure. He turns the lights on and it's his teenage stepdaughter. So in our home and friends, we want to make sure that we have a light or a way to eliminate the potential bad guy, so that you don't shoot significant others or kids. Now, I'm so happy to tell you guys that my two knucklehead kids, remember I told you about my two knucklehead kids? They never snuck out of the house and snuck back in.
You should never shoot blind anyway. Never.
I
Always
agree.
identify your target first.
Absolutely. So I need to move away from that area there because lightning's gonna strike over there. Because my kids never snuck out of the house because their father never snuck out of the house and snuck back in. You need to come back over here to, because lightning's gonna strike. over there. So you absolutely, positively have to identify any potential threat. Right, John? Cool. Shoot.
If you do not have a firearm on you and somebody's there and you make it sound as though you do, in other words, freeze! Drop it. Is that considered a threat?
So saying freeze, drop it, did not say freeze or I'll shoot you.
Or freeze or off?
Yeah, so your verbal threat. So remember what I used outside the Denny's? What did I say?
I'll defend myself.
Stop. If you come any closer, I will defend myself. Stop. Get out of my house. If you do not leave, we will defend ourselves. Okay? So you want to be careful with, I'll shoot you. Yes, sir.
Is the castle doctrine exactly your building?
So what I like to say, yes, to answer that. So he asked about the castle doctrine. But the interesting thing about the castle doctrine is you still need to be able to articulate, which means explain why you felt that your life was in danger of death or great bodily harm. Just like if you were at the mall, just like if you're in the parking lot, just like you were at work. So the level of your fear still needs to be the same. Again, it goes back to I just can't shoot a shadowy figure for being inside my house. You want to be really careful. So we have a third string quarterback for the Denver Broncos. New Year's Eve, gets drunk, goes out to his truck after midnight, comes back to where the party is, breaks into the wrong house. Luckily, the homeowner didn't shoot him. He lost his job though the next day. I've got a co-ed in Boulder, Colorado. She is stark ass naked. Breaks into a house, the guy tries to throw her out, he ends up shooting her. She was actually the victim of a sexual assault and she was trying to get away from the bad guy, seeking refuge in somebody else's house. Yes, sir.
Part, if I recall, part of the castle doctrine has to do with civil suits, whether or not you can be sued successfully or sued at all. If your house is broken into and you defend yourself
Yeah, so the interesting thing, there's several states that have civil immunity for criminal or civil immunity for self-defense. The Seventh Amendment to the United States Constitution, who remembers the Seventh Amendment to the United States Constitution? Basically says that if you have a beef with somebody and it's at least $20, you have the right to a jury trial. How did Hamilton die? Duel. Because in the olden days, instead of going to civil court, we just went out to the backyard, back to back, 10 steps, turn and shoot. We don't, as Americans, we don't want to do that anymore. So I believe, and I talked to my attorney friends, and some of them agree and some of them disagree. I believe any civil immunity clause in any state law is unconstitutional because of the Seventh Amendment to the United States Constitution. And we live in a litigious, can I say that word?
Yes, you done.
Litigious society. So everybody I shot, guess what I was cleared criminally in all my shootings. Guess what their surviving family did? They sued me. Okay. So that's why I'm a member of the USDCA, because I want that civil protection bank account, whatever they call it. Okay. So yes, there are laws written that give you that protection. However, I think if it's challenged in court, you'll lose, I believe. Ask an attorney. Yes, sir. Correct. Yep. So you want to be sure that you get all your words correctly stated. So I'm just going to paraphrase. So he says, if anybody breaks in my house, I'm going to automatically feel threatened with me and my wife. That's just my mindset. So he is already preloaded in his brain. We call that premeditation. Okay, he's already preloaded in his brain what he's going to do, which is not necessarily a bad thing, because that goes into the next slide that I'm going to talk about here, called mental exercises. Hey, if this happens, we're going to do that. If that happens, we're going to do this. Okay. You just want to make sure that when you make a formal statement, you say all the right words, because your attorney is going to give you those right words to be able to keep you out of prison for the rest of your life. Okay. So it's always a good idea to do mental exercises, or even physical ones. So again, it goes back to, as police officers, we did this. Hey guys, if this happens, we're going to do that. That happens, we're going to do this. If somebody breaks into our home, we're going to put this plan into action. Okay, and we're going to go to this area because I have a firearm staged in a box in that safe zone, safe area. We're going to lock the doors between us and the back.
I owe somebody an ammo gun. Aha. Okay.
So just to wrap this up, we talked about why it's important to have a personal protection plan while you're on the street as well as at home. Conflict avoidance and why that is important. Why is it important not to get in a fight? The two questions that you're going to ask yourself. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Okay, I gave you two hits. Is it worth dying? Is it worth going to jail? So I get these questions all the time. Bob, what if somebody breaks in my house, it's a full moon, the zombies are out, and the werewolf hit the whatever, and now can I shoot them? And the way I answer that question is it worth dying? Is it worth going to jail? We talked about situational awareness in the color code, stay in yellow. Okay. We talked about observing our environment and knowing what, talk about barriers in that environment. We didn't talk about concealed, well, we did talk a little bit about concealed carry permits and why I believe it's a good idea to have that. We also talked about home security and home defense. And again, one of the biggest things that if we have alarms, please use them. Please set them. And then the last one there, we talked about mental exercises. talk to your family, talk to your friends, make a plan. The worst plan properly executed is a great option. No plan fumbled through is not going to help you stay safe. What questions do you have for me about anything? Yes, sir.
I'll just say one thing for everybody. Check with your local police department, and I asked them for home security assessment. They came into my house, told me to put those screws. They saved my house. So check with your local police department, they'll come out 8-3 and tell you how to keep up your.
Yep. Are we in the city of Peoria?
Yes.
So if I call 911, Peoria police officers are coming.
Right.
It's not Maricopa County Sheriff's.
Right.
deputies. Cool. Yep.
Would you
Uh,
repeat what he said?
Yep, so the question is, you might be able to call your local police department, call them on a non-emergency line, and they might come out and do an assessment of your home based on your needs. That's where he found out about changing the screws out in his hinges in his door jamb. Yes, sir.
Wait. Oh.
Yeah, John, go ahead.
Okay, wasn't sure. In a home defense situation, is there a particular room that is usually recommended over other rooms? Or is
So,
it just whatever you decide?
yeah. So the question is, what's the best room to make my Alamo stand? Can I say that? Yeah, I'm going to defend the Alamo. I'm going to do it at this position right now. My glassbreaker guys, they actually make safe rooms. They'll make them, well, they'll come into your house and they'll fortify a room, closet, or bedroom that will stop bullets and stop bad guys from being able to break in. And that might be something that you want to do. In my house, I'm using my walk-in closet in the master bedroom. I'm moving to that location. I'm locking the door, my bedroom door, and it's just got one of those cheesy bathroom locks, you know what I mean? I'm locking that, and then I'm retreating back to my walk-in closet. There I have staged my home defense gun. Who wants to guess what my home defense gun is? So the answer that I just got was a shotgun. And so my two knucklehead kids, my oldest is 6'4". He was that way when he was 16 years old, 237 pounds. His little brother is 6'2", 200 pounds when they were in high school. He's about 220 now. So I took him out to the range and I put a Remington 870 police shotgun in their hand. And they went, boom. They went, ew, Dad, that's okay. And so then I put my AR-15 in their hands and they went, pow, pow, pow. And they went, oh, that's a lot nicer. How much recoil is there in an AR-15 versus a Remington 870 shotgun?
A lot less.
A lot less. So our home defense guns are AR-15s, okay, with a light on it. A pistol with a full-size pistol with a light on it is a great home defense gun. I've just elected to do a rifle. Now, my police officers, how many of you have ever been indoors and heard a 223 go off? It's extremely freaking loud. Can I say that? Freaking. So staged with my AR-15 is ear protection, electronic earmuffs. So I put my earmuffs on and I get my gun and I get staged up and my gun's got a light on it. And if the bad guy breaks in the door, I'm going to say, get out of here. I'm calling the police. So yeah, my phone is with me. I'm calling 911. And then I am protecting myself. Yes, sir.
If you have a handgun, what type of ammo do you recommend for that handgun?
So the question is, for my handgun, what ammo do I suggest?
Yeah.
Inside or outside the home, we want you to use personal protection ammo. Primarily, that might be considered like a hollow point. Hornady makes a ballistic tip that when I go to New Jersey, because hollow points are illegal in the state of New Jersey. So I carry Hornady ballistic tip. I think they're pink. So I can only shoot girls with them. I can't shoot boys. Yes, ma'am.
What about a laser on?
Yeah, that's a great point. I like lasers. However, this is when I'm in a room or outside and got my laser on my bad guy. This is what it looks like. Oops. Can I see that laser? Because what am I doing? Shaking. Yeah. So I'm a red dot guy. Those of us that carry firearms, there are optics that you can put on the top of your gun that has just a red dot. So I like red dots. When you get to be my age, I can't see right there anymore. Can't see my inside. So when you guys get to be my age, you'll understand. So lasers are great. I like green ones because they're brighter, but recognize that you're going to be shaking like a leaf. We got enough time for 2 more questions, and then we have to vacate the room, but I'll be in the lobby here if anybody has any other questions. Yes, ma'am.
I'm supposed to remind you about Arizona concealed carry permits.
Yep. So if you're interested in getting an Arizona, if you're interested in coming to a class to get an Arizona permit, see me in the lobby. Thank you very much. If you go, Bob, I'm busy on that day, you have an online class? I go, yes, I have an online class. You can take the online class and then you and I will meet up at a later date to get the final stuff. And so you can do an online class and then meet up with me, or you can do an in-person class. Thank you very much for reminding me. So meet me in the lobby for those 2 options. There's a question over here. Yes, no, screen, Bob? Back here? Yes, sir.
Just a comment, another USC instructor a long time ago had a tip. He said, document all your training. Take it on where you get food and water, and if you ever got a big rain situation, that really strengthens your defense, and just how to get through it.
Yep. And that in the book that Tracy was talking about, 10 Drills to Improve Your Shooting, she usually mentions that in her presentation, that having that written documented training is a great thing to have. It goes back to, should you have known better that you shouldn't have been involved in this kind of thing. Okay, great. Thank you very much. We have to leave the room, but I'll be in the lobby for any questions and issues. Have a great day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Just a reminder, the gun club has discounts at Shooters World, Scottsdale Gun Club, C2 Tactical. If you're interested in membership, check that out. Our next meeting will be in February, I think the 2nd or 3rd Tuesday. Look for your email. Thanks very much for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Appreciate that. If anybody's interested in getting a book, see me in the lobby.
Yeah, please bring the books up there.
I was going to buy that.
Hey, thanks. Appreciate you coming.
I was going to buy that book from you, but
I got 20 in the car, so I got 20.
well, I wound up doing. I bought like several of them from USC as a package deal. So.
Yes, so there's 4 last time I have 20.
You know.
So I would. Thank you very much.